URC Derby week is here. This is going to be an absolutely huge week in the URC. There are some derbies all around: Welsh, Irish, South African, Scottish. Let's get right into it. First game of the weekend, Cardiff versus Scarlets. I know the table might not say that that's a big game because Scarlets are dead last and Cardiff is second, but when it comes to these derbies, I think wherever you are in the standings doesn't matter anymore. And I think Cardiff will win this game in my opinion. I think that they have a very strong team this year, but on any day, Scarlets can just beat this Cardiff team. And I think Scarlets can beat a lot of teams in this competition if they just get it right, especially selections and stuff. They just need to get it right and they just need to click on the field because the Scarlets team is not a bad team. I mean, if you look at it on paper, it's actually a pretty good team. But obviously this Cardiff team is just different, especially for the Welsh teams. They are really good right now and things are just clicking for them at the right time. So if I had to give a prediction, I'd say Cardiff by 1 to 2 tries this week, but it is a derby, so anything can happen. Second game of the week, Leinster versus Ulster. This is one of the big games for the weekend, and I really think this could be the year that Ulster could maybe win. I really think Ulster can get the better of this Leinster team. This Leinster team right now, yes, they're winning games, but they're not firing on all cylinders. They're not firing the way they should. They're winning games, but not winning games in as dominant fashion as they have been in the last few seasons. So for me, I'm going to actually predict that Ulster might win this game. I think Ulster have signed some really good players at the right time. I mean, Joano Augustus, one of the best forwards in European club rugby right now, a massive signing from Northampton. And then if you think the likes of Angus Bell, one of the best prop forwards in the world, had a really good season with the Wallabies as well. Two really good guys to have. And if you look at the backline players, they've got some extremely fast, extremely talented backline players for Ulster. So I think Leinster are going to have to dig deep this week if they want to beat this Ulster team because it's going to be a tough match, and I think the only thing stopping Ulster from winning is the fact that it's a Leinster game at home, so it's going to be a very tough game to win for Ulster, but I think they can get it done. Either way, I think it's going to be about 3 points to a try either way, whoever wins this game, but I'm putting my money on Ulster this weekend. I think their forwards are clicking at the right time, their backs are extremely quick and just very talented, so I think Ulster by a try or maybe 3 points this week. That's a very hot take, but I think that it could be the way it goes this week. I think this Ulster team has really been clicking and I'm really enjoying watching how they play. Now into Saturday's games, one of the big ones, Stormers versus the Lions. I know the Lions this year haven't had their best season, but they haven't had a bad season either. I know from the outside looking in, it looks, they've lost all these games, but especially in the Challenge Cup, they haven't really been playing their strongest team. When they put their strongest players out on the field, they have a very strong team. And I just think this weekend, it just might not be enough for them. I think playing Stormers in Cape Town, it's going to be a packed Cape Town stadium, undefeated Stormers team, the likes of Sasha Feinberg, Ngomezulu, Kobus Reinach. I mean, if you think of guys like Warwick Galant as well, Wandisile Simelane, some incredible players playing really good rugby, Paul de Villiers, Evan Roos, some really good players, Ntutoko Mchunu playing really good rugby for the Stormers right now. So Lions are going to have to put in one of their biggest shifts in recent seasons to try beat this on-form Stormers team. If you look at the likes of the Lions, they have Mone van der Berg playing, Asanati Labakania. They have some really good players. They just need to click. But I think the signing of Boan Fenter as well for the Lions is a good one going forward for them. And I'd like to see more Springbok players go to the Lions. Like if I think of names off my head, maybe guys playing from Japan, maybe a Malcolm Marks could return one day, or the likes of Jasper Visser could maybe go play the one day. That would be excellent for the Lions. But obviously, that's thinking in the future, and it probably won't happen. But I'm just thinking what might be an ideal situation for the Lions, especially now that they couldn't get the signing of Bato Tlekani. Apparently, he is staying at the Sharks, so that's going to be interesting. Benetton versus Zebra. I think Benetton will win this game quite comfortably, even though Zebra's been quite good this year, on form, better than other seasons, getting a few wins under their belt, but they're just not there at the level of Benetton. I mean, I don't think this Benetton team is as good as they've been in recent seasons, but I still think Benetton at home, I think they should win it comfortably. Now, for probably one of my favourite games this weekend, Glasgow versus Edinburgh. I think this game is one to watch. If you're in rugby neutral or you don't know which game to watch this weekend, Glasgow Warriors versus Edinburgh is the game to watch. This is going to be a phenomenal match at Murrayfield. I really hope that it's sold out because the names on the team sheets are going to be absolutely phenomenal. If you think of likes of George Horn, Kyle Stain, Sione Tuipulotu, Duan van der Merwe, Pierre Skuman, there's some incredible names playing this weekend, and I think Glasgow might just win it just because they've been on really good form recently and they're clicking very much as a team. But I mean, if you think of some of the big name teams these guys have beaten, Glasgow's beaten Toulouse last week, Edinburgh's beaten Toulon, these are some really good teams peaking at the right time. So this game is two teams at their best, on their top form, peaking right now against each other in a packed Murrayfield Stadium. So I think this game's going to go down to the wire. But if I had to choose one, I think Glasgow Warriors might just edge it by a little bit. But I think this is going to be a game I'm going to be glued to the screen this weekend. So it's going to be a phenomenal game to watch. Now moving on to the next big game, probably the second biggest or tied biggest game for the weekend, Sharks versus the Bulls. Just thinking of some of the names: Sia Khaleesi, Bongi Mbanambi, Pepsi Buthelezi, Ethan Hooker, Andre Esterhuizen, Edwin van der Merwe, Makazole Mapimpi, Aple Lefasi, Ulrich Lowe, Johan Grobler, Vokulo, Gerard Steenkamp, Andre Pollard. Wow, there's some massive, massive names playing this weekend, and hopefully we can get some young names as well. Maybe the likes of Batot Lekani from the Sharks or Cheswell Uester from the Bulls. Seeing those guys play would be really good to see this weekend. But I think this game is a very much a do-or-die game for both of these teams. It can really kickstart their season into a positive direction, or, I don't know, it might be a bit of a big hump to get over if they can lose this game. So whoever wins this game, I think, goes into the rest of the season with a positive mindset, and it's a very, very big game to win. Because I think if you win this game, you kickstart the momentum going into the rest of the season. But if you lose, it could be the end. Honestly, it could. I mean, this Bulls team has lost a few games that they shouldn't have lost, and they've lost, like last week against Northampton, by a lot. I know it wasn't their strongest team, but there were some very, very strong players in that squad list as well, and they should not have lost the way they did with the scoreline that they did by. So, yeah, Sharks got a good win against Saracens last week. Not the cleanest, but I think JP Peterson's already made some really good decisions by making Ethan Hooker and Andre Esterhuizen in the centre pair. I think those two together going forward are what will drive the Sharks forward as well. I mean, you saw it last week against Saracens. Wherever everything else might not have been stable or secure, in that centre pair, they were stable, they were solid, and then had a lot of cohesion. So I think the one thing the Sharks team needs right now is just a bit of cohesion and just a bit of stability, because then they'll be good, then they'll be fine, because there's some really good names in the Sharks team. And I think JP Peterson might be the right guy to take this team forward, especially when it comes to managing big name players and managing Springbok players, because he's been there, he's been a big name player, and he knows the ins and outs of what to do for a World Cup winning team or a club winning team even. So he's the right guy to take them forward. I firmly believe that he's had a lot of success with under-19s and the under-21s, and he's a really good coach. I know for a fact he's a good coach, and he can take this team forward. And already his comments after the games have made me more positive about the Sharks' outlook for the season and for the future. But yeah, for this game, it's going to be a tough one, but just judging by the team sheets, I think if the Bulls play their strongest team, I think that they might just get the better of the Sharks. But it's going to be a phenomenal game to watch, and I think it's going to be absolutely physical. I mean, those forward packs against each other is going to be no joke. But I think the Bulls might just edge it and get more dominance in the forward pack. But I think backline-wise, I'd go with the Sharks. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a very good game, and it's going to be one to watch. So keep an eye out. And I think either team, whichever team wins it, it'll be by like a penalty, 3 points, or one score. So it's going to be a phenomenal game at Kings Park. The atmosphere is going to be crazy. So make sure you tune in for that one as well. I mean, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Sharks versus Bulls right after one another. That's going to be amazing. Then we have Ospreys versus Munster. I think Munster will get the better of the Ospreys here. I know it's playing in Wales, and in this tournament, the URC, it's very tough to tour to Wales and get a win in Wales. For some reason, the Welsh teams just play really well at home, and they defend their home ground like it's the end of the last day on earth. It is phenomenal to watch them play at home, but I just think Munster is a good team right now, trending in the right direction, and they need a big performance, especially before their big derby game against Leinster next week. So I'm going to go Munster by a try or two. Then the final game, Dragons versus Connacht. Connacht's a good team. I think Connacht are going to win it quite comfortably. I know the Dragons team is struggling. I want to see them get a few wins, but yeah, I think Connacht will win this game comfortably. And Connacht have a really good team, and I mean, before next week's game against Ulster as well, a big derby game for them, they're going to want to put out a strong team, get a strong performance under the belt, especially with the likes of Leinster and Ulster getting 1 day of extra rest before next week's games as well, and playing against each other in a very tough match. So I think those two teams might be a bit more match or physicality ready for next week's games. But nonetheless, it's going to be an amazing weekend of rugby in the URC, and I'm really excited. So my predictions are Cardiff to beat the Scarlets, Ulster to beat Leinster. That's a tough one, but I think that might happen. Stormers to beat the Lions, Benetton to beat Zebre, Glasgow to beat Edinburgh, Bulls to beat Sharks, but very close. As a Sharks fan, hopefully the Sharks win, but yeah, Bulls might beat the Sharks, but it might be very close. Munster to beat Ospreys, and Connacht to beat Dragons. But yeah, guys, let me know your predictions down below. Thanks so much for all the support. We've only been going for about a month now. Last week we couldn't get much Champions Cup footage out and content out just because I was skiing in Poland, so sorry about that in advance, guys. But yeah, from now on till the rest of the season, Six Nations, URC, Champions Cup, internationals, rugby championship, everything. Every single week there'll be content. Every single week you guys can tune in. But thank you so much, guys. See you soon.